Thanks for listening to the Business Spotlight podcast presented by the Lancaster Fairfield County Chamber of Commerce. I'm Logan Weaver, the marketing coordinator for the chamber. Appreciate you tuning in. Today we have Gear Up Footwear, Dennis Disser, the owner of the company. Dennis, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Well, thank you so much, Logan. It's exciting to get the message out, and we're still kind of a startup in some ways, so we can bring a lot of benefit to a lot of people in Fairfield County.
Yeah, Gear Up Footwear been around for about a year and a half now, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And I had spent about 15 years in marketing and sales for footwear companies like Wolverine and Rocky and Thorogood up in Wisconsin. And that was always on the brand or manufacturing side. But about a year and a half ago, I wanted to get closer to the customer and actually help more people. So I started this direct-to-consumer and also a retail space for safety, work, and Western boots.
It's a pretty unique business because a lot of people may think of their typical shoe store, kind of aren't your everyday average shoe store, but you kind of go a little bit further. You take it to the next step. And that's what we're going to talk about today and how you help people find the right footwear. Looking at the business, obviously you guys help with work boots, Western wear, outdoors. Why is this important? Because I feel like for some people, they may be like, oh, a shoe is a shoe, a shoe. So kind of dive into why it is important to have the right footwear.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Logan, because I think so many people take their shoes and boots for granted. A lot of people think they can wear them for a couple years in really extreme conditions. But the fact is, so much of work footwear is bought from mass merchandisers these days. So they go to a big box store at 10 o'clock at night, get a pair of boots, but no one's there to fit them. So they grab what's available. And in my business, when I sit down with customers out on site and we have a mobile shoe store, 18-foot trailer that holds 450 pairs of shoes, we go out on site and you walk into that trailer and you think it's like a little mini shoe store. We find that 30% of the people that we fit are wearing the wrong size or width. That's a third of your workforce. And so we take the time, almost like a good sit and fit shoe store, but we take the shoe store to you at manufacturing facilities, construction sites, and a few consumer shows.
I think in today's day and age with online retailers, all these various options out there for purchasing shoes and stuff, I think that's what sets you in your business apart. Yeah, people could go online, as you mentioned, but they don't know the right size or width or anything like that. What are some of the issues that can come up if they don't have the right size or the right width or just really the necessary footwear?
Yes. You know, when we see somebody wearing an inappropriate shoe, and that could mean they should be wearing a boot and they're wearing an athletic shoe. So I see foot problems every day. If I meet with 10 people, 1 or 2 have diabetes, and 1 or 2 additional people have had a foot problem in their life. So 4 out of 10, they got foot problems. And so we talk about the right fit, but also the right structure. So if you have diabetes, you need more room in that shoe oftentimes. If you have a leg problem, you might need a boot that holds you securely in place so the top of your body can be more straight. So an athletic shoe would not be a good alternative. So if they go to a mass merchandiser at 10 o'clock at night, no one's going to have that conversation. We have the conversation. At the end of the day, though, the customer's always right, and if they want an athletic shoe, they can get one. But we give consultation and guidance. It's never medical-based, but it's based on my 25 years being around shoes and feet. And so I bring that expertise to every fitting.
And a lot of that goes hand in hand. I would say a lot of your clientele is probably the manufacturing side, larger manufacturers, larger employers who have a bigger workforce who is either on their feet all day or they need that specialized footwear, not just for, standing all day, but for safety reasons too. Why is that important?
Well, yeah, so slip and fall accidents are really the number 2 accident within work environments. And so if you slip and fall, or if you trip up and down the stairs, you could be out of work for 8 to 10 days. And that would cost your company probably $15,000 of lost productivity and medical. And so we want to keep people safe. When people think safety shoes, they think of the protective toe, and certainly that is critical. But in my opinion, having the right construction of the boot, if you're around a lot of standing water, it needs to be truly waterproof. And we have boots that have this Teflon bootie that's inside the boot. And so, we have that for chemical and water. We have really nice leather boots to strap you in as you're around up and down stairs or ladders. If you just buy off the rack, you may not be buying the right shoe. Last but not least, going up and down ladders, you need a defined heel, what they call a 90-degree heel. And so that's one of my questions when I go out on site. What's your job? Are you around water, chemicals? Are you up and down off equipment? And then we start guiding you out of our 50 shoes that we have on the truck to the right shoe for your job.
Before we hit record for this episode, you brought up a very good point about a older customer that you had at one of the work sites who was measured at 18 for a shoe size. 40 some years later, had never actually been measured. And I think that's important because your feet grow. There can be changes over the course of those 40 some years. And you helped him determine that what he was wearing isn't the proper footwear that he needed.
Yeah, that's a great example. And I enjoy this aspect of the job because it's kind of a eureka moment when they start wearing the right size. But this gentleman was probably 60 or 62, still working hard. And I pulled out the device. We call it the Brannick device. It's been around since 1925, but it still works great to get really close with size and width. And he was wearing an 11 medium. He should have been a 12 wide. We had a little back and forth, and he said, I've always been an 11. And he said the last time he was measured when he was 18. And so we measured him, he puts them on, and then all of a sudden he goes, wow, these are comfortable. And the takeaway is because they fit him.
And I can't imagine, I've been out shoe shopping. I hate shoe shopping just in general. I can't imagine fitting into a shoe that I know is smaller. Having that for 40 plus years, you can only imagine even having a smaller shoe, what kind of complications that could have created that maybe could have been avoided who knows how long.
Well, exactly. The foot has 26 bones in each foot. And so there's a lot of moving parts. And when you constrict that, you also do things with circulation. You can do skin damage, which of course is, blisters. And so a tight shoe is not appropriate, but also a shoe that's too big doesn't give you the footing and you don't have the confidence when you step or go up ladders. So we need to dial it in. And that's what we do when we go out on site with our mobile shoe store.
Like I said before, people can always stop into a shoe store and pick something out and get similar assistance, finding the right size and everything. But the fact that you're able to take it on the go, especially when you've got potential clients who have a workforce of 1,000 at a time, I think is a big advantage.
Well, actually, that's a great advantage because we go to them. And Logan, I'm finding most workers now don't work an 8-hour day anymore. Most manufacturing is 10 hours or maybe 50% of them are 12-hour shifts. So you're working 12 hours. Come in at 6, you go home at 6. You commute. So the day is a 14-hour day. You don't want to go shop for shoes. And so when we're on site, we have this consultation as I described. But more importantly, I save that person a trip back into town. I save them an hour on Saturday. And also what we have on the trailer, oftentimes we have sizes from 7 men's all the way up to size 17. You probably can't walk into a mass merchandiser and find a 13, 14, 15, 16. So we have the sizes. In about a third of our shoes we carry in wides, because we talked about foot ailments, and this isn't really a foot ailment, but as we age, and I am over 45 years old, but as you get over the age of 45, most people's feet will flatten out a half size length and probably one width. And that doesn't mean everybody's a wide size, but more prevalent when you get over the age of 45, you probably need a bigger size or width.
I'll be sure to put that reminder in my calendar in 20 years.
Yes.
Because even from personal experience, just going to a regular shoe store, I struggle finding, because I'm a size 12, but I'm a size 12 wide. Mm-hmm. And finding the wide, it's enough room in that shoe to make a huge difference in comfort level. Being able to have that flexibility when it comes to a work shoe, especially for folks who are on their feet all day, whether it's manufacturing. Do you help with folks in the healthcare industry as well? Because I know they sometimes need special footwear as well.
Yeah, we haven't ventured into that category, even though, here in Fairfield County, you might have 3,000 people working in that segment. Down the road, never say never. But yeah, our sweet spot are in manufacturing, construction, service industries like warehousing. And you talk about, the large companies, but actually one of our sweet spots is we're willing to work with smaller companies too. So I do have competitors in this space that may not go to a factory smaller than 250, but actually that's my sweet spot. So we've worked with companies as small as 6 people all the way up to 3,500. And so we do great work with companies of 50, 60, 100, 150 people, just like we would with 1,000. And so we're easy to work with. And, just real quick, the difference between us and the big guys is we're hands-on, we're local. If you need a shoe, I order it, and then I probably are going to drive it back out to you. The big guys will never do that. And I did that last week here in Baltimore, Ohio, and it was like Christmas when I took 8 pairs of shoes out there because I ordered them on Monday, delivered them on Friday, and everybody went home with new shoes.
I love that local aspect to it too, because, and I think here in Lancaster, Fairfield County, just in general, I think we do have a pretty good support of local businesses. Being able to see that face-to-face connection, make that, especially with a product like that, where if you're buying in bulk or you need a specialized service like this, having that local connection is so valuable.
Well, yeah, and lastly, talk about service. When I'm helping a customer and getting them into a new pair of shoes, I don't immediately say, oh, if this breaks down, come back to me. But of course, I imply that these are fully warranted. And I do get a few pairs back every now and then, and there's never any question. I take it back, switch it out. I make a claim against the manufacturer. And again, the big guys could take weeks to do that, whereas I switch it out the same day. So I stand behind the product.
Having that service just like that, I think is very valuable too, because a lot of these folks, they need these shoes. Like their whole work life, their whole career is centered around the footwear that they wear. And I think being able to have such quick service like that's also very valuable.
Yeah, so we pride ourselves. I mean, people ask me, Dennis, why did you go from like the brand side of the manufacturing to retail? Because retail's a lot of work. But I really do enjoy, helping the guy with a broken foot, find the right shoe. The guy that was a size and a half off. The women that can't get their sizes because the mass merchandisers don't have women's work boots. We have 12 styles of women's specific work boots, and women's feet are different than guys. So these shoes, these 12 styles, were designed for a woman's foot. And so you just can't walk into a mass merchandiser and get that likely.
Talk about some of the brands that you carry, because there are some folks who are very particular about the brands that they go with. So.
Yes. And I respect that. I mean, you get somebody that drives a Chevy truck and they would never think of a Ford. So we have really great brands, been around a long time. We have Wolverine, Bates, Rocky, Durango, Georgia Boot, Muck Boot, Reebok, and Rockport. In the casual side, we sell Rockport shoes that look like dress shoes, but they're safety for managers.
Oh, wow.
And Reebok brings their comfort technology from athletic into safety. And so I do real well in the warehouse and those kind of things. So we have good brands, all fully warranted, usually for a year. And, so we don't have every brand, but we have every category covered.
How can folks reach out? Because I know you've got the retail space, but you do a lot of business-to-business type deals as well.
Absolutely. And in some ways, the best way is to run me down on my telephone, my cell phone, because I may be out on site, but I pick up. So that number is 614-558-5765. You can go out to our website, and that is gearupfootwear.com, and there's an entry there where you can reach me. And then our location is 505 West 6th Avenue here in Lancaster. It's just west of the YMCA, so heading toward Anchor Hocking, let's say. So there's several ways to run us down, but give me a call. I had somebody last week that said, hey, we're not very big. We only have 13 employees. Would you work with us? After I cleared my voice, I said, yes, we'd love to work with you. Let's set a date. So we're easy to work with. The other thing, people think the service costs something. So they go, how much would it cost to have you come out with your trailer? And I said, no. We come out, we want to sell shoes. If I only sell 1 or 2 pair, that's not a great day. But if you have 13 employees and I sell 10 of them, that's a good day. And so there's no cost for us to come out. I get that question often because they think it's like a food truck that has a minimum or something. And so we come out, we want to serve your employee base, and we intend to sell shoes, but there's no cost for us to come out.
I know we've seen the trailer out at some of the safety council events as well, safety fair as well. By the time this episode goes out, safety fair had just been completed. I know you participate in that as well.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people benefit, not just from the booth, but especially when the trailer's out and about. It's pretty interesting. It's kind of like a mini retail shop almost.
Yeah. And again, going direct with our customers are so busy. They're time starved and they're not getting that service at a mass merchandiser. So I think it's the trifecta of how we help customers. And then, from a business side, again, talking about easy to work with, a lot of these customers have vouchers where the customer, the employees get, money each year. So most of these people leave the trailer zero out of pocket. We bill the company, we do all the paperwork, we invoice the company. So the person comes on, they get a pair or two boots, they walk away, I record their name, and we go from there. So it's really easy. Whereas if they bought from a mass merchandiser, they'd have to pay for them, make a claim against the company, and tie up their own money.
Well, Dennis, is there any final thoughts or anything that we didn't cover today?
We're just excited to be a resource here in Fairfield County. We actually serve about 6 counties around Lancaster, so we take the show on the road. We enjoy what we do. We care about your safety, your comfort, and your productivity. And if we can bring those 3 aspects to your workforce, then we've done our job.
And that website again is gearupfootwear.com. Visit the website, learn all about everything that Dennis and his team does out there. And if you've got a large business or a small business, they're willing to work with you. So Dennis, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Really appreciate it, Logan.
You've been listening to the Business Spotlight podcast presented by the Lancaster Fairfield County Chamber of Commerce.